Did you know that bananas was the world's most popular fruit? Then what is the world's most popular berry? Take a wild guess. Think about it, because we're going to talk about it today. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for tuning in. As always, I'm asking you to please like, share, and subscribe because it does definitely help me with the YouTube algorithm. And I'm trying to get as much out as possible to help people around the world, such as myself, and to help others who want to know but just don't know. And as you guys know, this has become just something that I really, really love a lot of. Just growing, helping people to grow. It's what I think that's what God has blessed my hands to do, is doing things like this. And so I wanted to share this information. So today, you guys, guess what? I wanted to talk about, guess what? Fragaria ananacea. Fragaria ananacea, which is also known as what you have today as your strawberries. Strawberries are America's or the world's most popular berry, okay? Now, let me give you some fun facts about strawberries. Number one, strawberries that we eat today, that the big juicy strawberries, not the little ones that's still growing in wild, were actually found on accident. What happened is that in Europe around the 18th century, a Virginia strawberry plant basically crossbreeded or hybrided with a plant from Chile, and it created the big juicy strawberries that we get today. Okay, that's fact number one. Fact number two is that strawberries are what they call perennials. So with it being a perennial, that means it can grow twice a year, typically in early spring and late summer. And sometimes they can grow anywhere from about, Marchish, February, Marchish, to around November, just depending on where you are, what the climate is like, okay? Now, we consume strawberries more than any other berry. To date, there are almost over about 600 different species of strawberries. In addition to being over 600 species of strawberries, we typically only use about 14 right here in the United States of America. So we only have about 14 different varieties that are popular here and we use pretty frequently here. Now, let's talk about the types. There are 3 different types, okay? Type 1 is what they call the Juneberry. Now, again, remember that all strawberries are perennials. Now, the 3 different types. The first type is the Juneberry. Juneberry typically gives you a big harvest in June, dies off, and it comes back typically in the late fall of the year, in the late summer of the year. But typically you're going to get your biggest harvest around June, okay? Then you have what they call the everbearing strawberry. The everbearing strawberry, again, is a perennial. So you'll get usually a harvest around the beginning of the early spring, sometimes in the late fall. But you'll get beautiful, anytime that you'll get plenty of berries. As long as there's at least about 12 hours worth of light, the everbearings will produce their quantities. They'll die off and they'll come back because, again, they're perennials, okay? And that typically happens when they're about 12 hours of sunlight being exposed. So that's why you typically see your best growths during the summer, right? Because you get more light in the summer. Now, then they have I don't want to say it's new, but they have another variety, which is what they call daylight neutral. Daylight neutral strawberries mean they'll grow no matter whether it's light or dark. Doesn't matter to them. They're going to grow regardless, okay? And again, those are perennials. So they'll grow typically twice a year. Usually early spring, late summer, going into early fall. And then they can grow up to around November-ish. And then just depending on how well they're cultivated or taken care of, and go away, all right? So now, those are some fun facts that I wanted you to know about strawberries, okay? Now, I'm going to show you the strawberries in my garden, what I have, why I've chosen what I'm chosen, and then probably what I'll end up doing next year in terms of my strawberries. Okay? Stay tuned. So as you can see here, I actually have the Juneberries, okay, which have given me their harvest for the summer, and they've pretty much just died off, and I didn't choose to rewater them. And the reason why I didn't choose to rewater them, although they are perennials, was because these are in grow bags, and sometimes it's hard for me to maintain the moisture that I want in this one, and I didn't see as much yield in these the Juneberries or in this set of everberries that I wanted to see. And so what I'll likely do is that since I didn't see what I wanted in this group, but I'm seeing the fruit yield that I want in this group, then I think what I'll do is I'll take these berries here, which are also perennials, and I may harvest these and not let them die off and replant them in a bigger container and see if I can get a bigger yield next year. Because like I said, all of these are perennials, and I'm starting to get my biggest harvest with this group in this set here, in this growing stage here around about now, and I really like this, and so I'm getting my biggest yield with these now. And so I may see some more in October, maybe not. What's interesting about this is I think the reason why this set has done particularly well, even though they're both in the greenhouse, is because first of all, I put this in a bigger section. So I put this in a bigger grow bag. This grow bag was not as big, and I put this in a bigger grow bag, and the lighting here is right here at the beginning of the greenhouse, which is interesting because right here at the beginning of the greenhouse is where you can get the best flow of air here, even though you can do it down there too. I typically don't because it's kind of running downhill, but you can get the best air here. You can get the most amount of rain here when I leave it open, and I put it in a bigger growing bag. And so I really just like what this brand of my everbearing strawberries that have been doing it. So I didn't have, these are not Juneberries, but these are everbearing strawberries here, the Rubians and the Caliquats or Quinaquant. They are everbearing, and these are not particularly what you will see grown in the United States. But I decided to grow these anywhere, and they have done particularly well in my greenhouse, which is why I've done it. So you can see here, look at how beautiful this is. Look at the growth that I have here. Look at still flowering here. And I'm getting, I mean, tons of growth here, here, here. And if you paid any attention to any of my previous videos, you see all the budding going on here. And I'm still growing here. I'm getting a really, really good yield here. And I'm really, really excited about that. And here, I mean, I'm just growing. If you saw any of my previous videos, you'll see that I actually took a few strawberries off earlier. And so I just wanted to show you guys what my everbearing strawberries are looking like, because I only had one Juneberry, and then I bought the rest were all everbearing. And so I wanted y'all to take a look at what mine was looking like. And this is one of my perennials that I'm pretty certain that I'm going to save and see if I can get another yield toward the fall of the year. And we're going to see how that works out, because I really did like how these grow. I did love how they taste. And so we're still getting big yields too. And so this typically can last about 2 to 3 years. And so just if you're rotating your crops properly, and what I'll do is I'll take this out, take them up by the root, and then I'll take this, put in new dirt, rotate them back or whatever. And then it'll help me with too many, like insects and bugs and things like that. And I'll do that. And then what helps me also is because I put them on a stand. And so I think the bugs, they have a little bit of a harder time, but I still do put a little DE in here. And so I haven't had a real issue with bugs so much, even in this hot weather. And so I just wanted to share that with you guys as we talked a little bit more about strawberries. So as you can see, this is what I've chosen to do with my strawberries. Now, I am just becoming familiar with the neutral strawberries, and I think that I'm going to try my hand at those because I want to see what that's growing like. And so I think that that's something that I may do if I can find them. I may have to go online and try to find them if I can't find them in a local nursery. But I do think I want to try my hand at those and see how those work. And then I may be able to, with them being neutral, I may be able to grow them in my greenhouse, and I may be able to grow them all year long because they are light neutral. And so I'm pretty excited about that because of the simple fact that I'm trying to figure out a way to heat my greenhouse during the fall of the year or as it gets colder. And then if I can do that, then I may be able to grow them all year long if I can get them to cycle right. And that may be something I might be interested in doing as a project this fall, in addition to growing whatever, like the fall crops, like the spinach, the different legumes, the beans and things like that grow in the fall of the year. Because I do try to grow seasonally. But that is something I'm interested in doing and seeing, because that is America's favorite berry, or the world's favorite berry. And that is something I'm interested in doing. But as always, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, please like, share, subscribe, and teach somebody else about strawberries and why they are America's favorite berry.